is. There he is. It's Dennis Rogers from Canoehound Adventures. It's been a long time. I've missed you, man. I cry every night. Okay,
how you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing really good. I don't have that fancy hat that you gave me. This is Christine's hat. But no, oh my lord, I got this hat. I got long hair. I get my hair cut on Wednesday, by the way. If anybody wants,
you're looking like quite hippie-ish here.
I was out a lot in the bush. Actually, I was really quite busy. This is not hippie-ish. This is like being very busy and not having time to get a haircut. All right, so this is really cool. Whisky Fireside Chat with Dennis, my good buddy. I've got look at that. I've got him. Oh, happy camper.
Look at man, you got that. You got all the swag going now.
I got to learn from the experts. I'm doing that because I'm almost done. I opened this a long time ago. This is really good. I forgot who gave that to me, but I actually bought my own whiskey the other day. Nobody gave it to me randomly. I bought it. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. About Lemon?
Yep, something like that. But also I have
doing this bottle of King of Queens.
Oh, I've never tried that either.
Yeah, it's a product of Scotland.
Well, it must be good then, jeez.
Must be good. Must be in a green bottle with a little pour spigot in there.
Well, it must be somewhat good. And I'm having mint tea as well as it's been a day. All right.
Very cool, man.
And also I've got
the Joe Boxers.
Yeah.
Are those
Did they sell well in your merch? By the way, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
oh my goodness. I knew that was going to come back to bite me. Oh, gee.
All right. Oh,
wow. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, that was actually. All right, let's get into it. Like I know. All right. So instead of actually going right away and saying, "Where have you been? You were love of my life. You disappeared," and let's not. We'll get into that later. But rather than that, let's look about what you've done.
Hello, and welcome to Canoehound Adventures, a channel that brings you closer to the great outdoors.
I did not work out as planned. So actually, I'm quite nervous about this because I usually do not go on script. Well, I do have a script, I never go on it, but I'm keeping on script. I already know where you started because I looked into the archives, but you started 6 years ago. You had this epiphany to do a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you decided to do a LinkedIn Let's Chat Online thing, which was everybody has to go back to watch that. It's like,
oh no!
Oh yes, you do. Yes.
Hey Seth, how you doing? Thanks for coming on. You're my very first viewer on one of these live feeds. Never done this before. Hope everything's all good. All the quality's all good. Here, I'm gonna add you and make you a moderator, just because you're my first. Help me monitor all these other people that might come in. YouTube's just starting to recognize my channel here now, pretty good. Hitting up around like 360 subscribers now. It kind of snuck up on me. Back when I was about 250, I was going to do a giveaway for all my followers, just one of those appreciation things.
And then you morphed into this show which you see behind you, Canoehound Adventure Adventure, and it didn't take long for you to do that, which is really cool. But let's go back. Sorry. When you started YouTube, what was did you wake up at one morning and tell your friends and family and wife, whatever, like, I'm going to change the world and create a YouTube channel? What happened?
It started as a channel, even before this show started. It was just, a way for me to sort of document some trips and stuff like that. And it started like so many other YouTubers, like back around 2014, 2013, 2015, somewhere in that time frame. And the channel was going nowhere. Very poor subscribership. I'm not the best editor. I self-admit it, right? But as it kept going on and on, I don't know if you remember back in the day, Sty North, good old Sty.
Yeah.
Very nice old gentleman. God rest his soul now. We would always sit in chats and stuff, and he asked me, like, what do you want to do with your channel? I said, I'd like to interview people of channels I enjoy watching, and different celebrities, or call them celebrities because all YouTubers are celebrities, right? And one thing kind of led to another, and he was one of my first live streams. Sty, how are you tonight, my friend?
Pretty good tonight.
Good. This is
good to see you, Dennis.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your next one with Pine Martin.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's going to be a really interesting conversation because I've been checking out a lot of his videos, as has he been checking out my videos. Thank you very much. And it's been really interesting, getting a perspective.
Yeah.
I must say, Martin, you are a very wise man. You are a very wise man, and it's always good to. I love listening to and speaking with people that know their stuff because it makes me learn so much more. Somehow somebody connected me with Pine Martin, of all people. And I can't even remember how that happened. And he was like one of my first real guests that I reached out to and actually asked if he wanted to be a guest. And he was like, boom, right on board, even though he'd never heard of me.
Now, Kevin, the reason I'm here.
Because you're my eye candy, baby.
No, the reason I'm here is you did this video about a Canadian dinner jacket.
Yes.
But I'm sorry, but I have to protest. I don't know what that fabric is that you're wearing. But it's got a zipper. But a real Canadian dinner jacket is made out of wool. Is made out of wool, and it has buttons, and it comes with a top hat.
And things just gradually started morphing over the whole COVID shutdown, where everybody was confined to their homes and had nothing to do, and I guess it kind of filled a bit of a void.
Did it fill your void?
Well, my void, your void, anybody's void. I was itching to get out just like everybody else. I was watching all these YouTube videos, and it just not a lot of people know there was a season of live streams before Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show that were like 6, 7, 8 hour live streams. Like I had too much time to spend on the computer, right? Heck, the first time I had you on the show, it turned out to be like a 5 hour or 4 hour live stream. In the end, we had the show, and then it just kept going on and on. It's like the green room live, right? So
she was on the radio with me. It was a live across Canada talk on CBC, and so I put her on radio, and she literally said, she said, "Yeah, it's really nice out here, but this is not my thing to be interviewed. Dad, this is yours." And she handed the phone to me.
And that's the last story Dennis wanted to hear tonight. Is somebody got to see a moose?
yeah.
Dennis. I know I'm going to see a moose. I know I'm going to see a moose all the way through that trip.
You know what? I was so disappointed we did not see a freaking moose on that trip.
We could tell.
when you go somewhere, okay, and you don't see anybody for 5 days, and you're basically tripping over moose droppings and falling in moose hoof prints in the mud, you're gonna see a moose, right? No.
Obviously not.
You know what we see in a moose? Driving home on the side of the road. Always the case, right?
I remember those times, to be quite honest, because I was there with the dog at my place, the old place, alone, and everybody goes, well, "Do you have time to do all this?" I went, "Yeah, I do," and we all do, and it really helped us out throughout, to be quite honest. So thinking back though, so you started the live feed, you started the show. What was the transition? When did it happen? When you were like, "I'm going to do banners, I'm going to do merch. I'm not just going to do this. Hello, is anybody out there?" And switch it up.
Well, that stuff all started because I was a struggling YouTube artist at the time. and it was costing money to do this. Subscriptions and equipment and the time that I spent doing it, like, out of work and, like, being a business owner, I lost a lot of my own business time to putting together shows. And I trying to compensate so it wasn't coming out of my pocket. And so, when somebody come up to me one time and said, hey man, like, do you have hats? You always have cool hats, right? And I go, well, I guess I can get a hat made for you. And, and that led to a t-shirt, and it led to the next thing and the next thing. And before you knew it, it went from hats like that. Well, the underwear, that wasn't actual merch. That was something I made special for you. And my wife told me I should put the logo on the leg, not where I was going to put it.
I'm speechless. I want to say so many things there.
The canoe would have been a little bigger.
Oh, see, there you went there, and I didn't want to go there, but you went there. So you did your first show, like your first real show. I mean, there's a whole bunch. If you go back in time, you did a bunch of live feeds with a whole bunch of us, actually. And I think your first show, what was your first show? I think it was your second or third guest on, but I forget who the first was. Who was the first one? But when you did that, how did you feel? Did you walk away and give your wife a hug and you say, "Oh man, I'm in"?
No, man, I was nervous as hell. And just like most of my interviews, for somebody that I had never interviewed before or talked to, in some cases, some of the people, yeah, man, I was nervous because I was kind of starstruck because I'm interviewing people that I really enjoy their channels. Like, that's aside from the content video or shows that we would have. But every time I had an interview, like, the first time I interviewed Joe Robinette, or, it didn't really matter. First time I interviewed you, we had not even, we had met at a Toronto show, but you had no idea who I was, but I knew who you were. Right. And I was kind of starstruck, like, wow, man, I got like the Kevin Callan on the show, or I got the Ted Baird, or, John from Lost Lakes, or Xander Budnick. Everybody's got the man crush on Xander, right? It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool that I just felt nervous. At no time did I ever feel like I had a victory.
Yeah, but at the same time, people were jumping to be on your show because you had an audience, right? So yeah, you were nervous. I think that's great, and you were starstruck. That's great. Actually, I remember the first time I met you. I actually knew your show, and I was all excited to meet you. But you did add to their lives. I mean, or they would never have been on your show. They would never even answer your email, right? So. But you probably didn't think about that at the time. You were like, your Star Trek. But at the end of your show, did you change your viewpoint? Did you say, well, I'm going to pick and choose who's going to be on the show, or I'm going to do this?
Never. It was never, because it was always I won't say a struggle, but it was always work to get somebody to be on the show. I think the furthest I was ever ahead in scheduling was like maybe 5 or 6 weeks, but that would get eaten up like nothing, before you know, it's like, wow, I still got to find more people. So yeah, we're constantly digging to find content. And that's where so much of the time come into producing this show, was just the amount of time, and not only the time of reaching out to say, hey, Mr. Callan, I love your work. Would you like to be on the show? It was then about doing the research in the background of what I was going to interview the person about, what type of questions, setting up the show, setting up the thumbnails. It was like one-man show, many, many hats, like you've been doing tonight, one hat off, one hat on. That's all the hats of producing a show, right? There's a lot that goes into it. The times where, like, video, I had so many video issues.
You run the risk of just creating a gray market area, where if people want to beat the
sorry there, Nate, you're really breaking up with the transport there. You want to say that again, please?
Well,
Uh-oh.
a matter of fact, I think in your first show, I even cut out a couple times, but it went really bad quality for like the first 15 minutes of the show because I had shoddy internet service here, and the internet company would never come to fix it up. So there were all these struggles that I had going on in the back of my mind, like what happens if this happens, or what happens if that happens, and I'm trying to talk, and yeah, it's like this, right? So
but you kept doing it, and you had fortitude to do it. You still had a day job. You had a business. You weren't working for the government. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. You have your own business, so you have to work to make money. Sorry, I shouldn't say that either. But
I have to work to make money.
But you still kept doing it. At the very so thinking back, let's say you do 12 shows. What was your drive after a dozen shows? Because it's like meeting, your lover for the first time. Oh, this sounds great. And then, there were some complications. What kept you going?
The fact that I didn't have much else going on, right?
That's no,
okay.
If you look
at it from the standpoint, I would always take the summers off, right? I would always take the summers off because I'm out there playing. I'm canoeing. I'm having a good time, a lot of family stuff and camping trips and things of that sort. Come wintertime, everybody wants to stay in the house. You all want to cuddle. You want to stay warm, have a couple of little beverages and stuff like that. And aside from the odd little winter camping trip, my Tuesday nights were free, right? Aside from trying to just get, the work and the show all together and trying to get them to blend together. So my driving force was go from basically September till the ice out type of period. However many shows I can get in that period of time, right? And then after my third season, when I brought on my first sponsor, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to do 30 shows in a season. Well, then I'm committed to doing 30 shows in a season. You know what I mean? So now I have a commitment to my sponsors, and then you get 2 sponsors and 3 sponsors, and all of which, just like you, all sponsors of products or things that I use myself personally. I paddle Novacraft. I use Badger paddles. I use Ostrom packs. I use Kid Product stove. They're no China knockoffs there, right? It's all Canadian businesses. So not that there's anything wrong with China knockoffs, but I prefer homemade Canadian stuff, right? Yeah.
Well, did since the beginning to the end, was the carrot in front of you the same thing?
The carrot in front of me, well, at the beginning, it was just about meeting or getting to talk to the people that I enjoyed watching. Towards the end, it was still that same thing. Every new guest I brought on, I wanted to learn more about that person. Any new topic that I would have on, where I'd have you and a bunch of other people on as panelists sharing your knowledge, it was about me learning too. So the whole premise of my show was getting to know those that I watch, without not in a creepy way, right? And then of course, getting to learn more about it myself. I learned, we do our winter camping shows, and I would learn so much about staying warm or proper gear, as Pine Martin would say, on the edge, right? Riding cold's edge type of thing, right? You learn so much about all this stuff that it was really a learning experience for me, and a true honor to talk to everybody that I've ever had on the show.
Well, instead of listing who was your worst guest, who was your best guest, whatever, because you would never say who that was, and that's not you. But quickly, I'm going to ask you a few here. Most unique guest, whoa, that was interesting. Whoa.
Oh my goodness! You always come up with the best questions. My most unique guest, I would say it goes deep, but can it be? It's a combination of guests, because when I had John from Lost Lakes and Xander Budnick on the show, that was a good show because the chemistry between them two guys just kind of lit up the whole show. I didn't even hardly have to do anything.
I don't know. I'm here hanging out with you guys in a chat room, and live streaming to how many people we got going? 200 people.
Oh, 212 people on screen already.
Yeah. I got to meet some of like the most like I got to meet all like these YouTube personalities through doing this, like all like the people that I used to like look up to. So I mean, I'm in a great spot. Now me and John are buddies. Like the heck.
That's funny. You know, I first come across your channel. Actually, it was through John. He made mention of your channel, I think in one of his videos or something, saying, "Yeah, this guy's got some good stuff," or it was somewhere like that, maybe Facebook or something. And I checked it out, and then I started watching your content as well. And before you knew it, I reached out to you, and at that point, you're already your first time on the show here. You were like 120,000 subs, so that's big progress in a year.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. John's channel's been like going crazy. Like
it has.
It's hard to compete with him, man. Like that guy's putting out like the most, like the highest quality content out of really anybody I know right now. And it's like every time he puts out a new video, I'm like, God damn it, John! Like how do we compete? But it's great because he's pushing the level so much that it's just like bringing the whole industry like forward in a way. It's
that's generous. Thanks, buddy. But
true.
You're a much better YouTuber than me, that's for sure. You're an entertainer, you're so fun, and you're lovable.
You know, I'd pop a few questions, but the conversation and the banter between them two just made that show so easy. Everything just smooth sailing across the board, right?
Oh, good answer. I actually put that down myself when I was going through all this. Most surprising guess, meaning like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
I would say probably good old Les Stroud. Not once, but twice, having him on the show. He was, somebody that I thought was way out of my league to be on Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show, a show that, really catered to a small genre. But yet he's, TV celebrity, and, he's a recording artist, and he's got a lot of things. And when he agreed to be on my show the first time, I thought that was wow. Am I making it big time here now?
Never met Bill Mason. Here's a story. I was in a survival class at Humber College, and the instructor came in and said, "Hey, everybody, did you hear that Bill Mason died?" And I said, "Who's Bill Mason?" And that thus began my love affair with the work of Bill Mason and Path of the Paddle, Song of the Paddle, and all of his wolf films and so on. Water Walker, of course. And he inspired me in that I often say, look, I'm the first and the only guy to ever film himself and make an international career out of it and all that. It's a bit of a lie because Bill Mason filmed himself with a Bolex camera, no less. In the middle of, the snow, So I remember seeing that thinking, I have scenes in my film work completely stolen from Water Walker.
But, I'm going to interrupt Dennis. So thinking back at those times, I remember him being on the show. I remember you getting stressed because he was late and you were wondering if he was ever going to be on. But if you look at the numbers, the view count of him being on is quite low compared to other people.
Very low. Yeah. Yeah.
So thinking back in time, what happened? What's going on there?
As you know from being on my show, while being sort of my regular on the show, numbers rely on input from both sides for marketing purposes, right? I would advertise it, on Facebook and on Instagram, and of course through YouTube, and the more it gets shared out there, the better. I honestly thought the numbers with Les Stroud would probably have been much larger than they were, because I was hoping that, maybe they would put it out there in his newsletter that he's going to be on a live stream and, maybe come and watch. You might learn something more about me type of thing. But they did absolutely zero marketing. And I don't know, maybe not as many people. This is just me blabbing out loud. Maybe a lot of people weren't as interested in Les Stroud as I thought they may have. But there again, I was doing it selfishly, more for myself, right?
Yeah, it might be an age
thing. I'm not afraid to admit that, because that was the premise of the show, was to interview people that I really enjoyed, right? So
Yeah, that might be an age on. I mean, might be a positive thing because maybe your audience was younger and they wouldn't even know who Les was, right? So
That's possible.
I
That's
mean,
possible.
yeah, I've done that before where you interviewed people that I admire and they would, who? Uh,
Yeah.
okay, this is good.
Yeah.
The one guest that you feel the show was all worthwhile.
All worthwhile.
I mean, imagine this. You were one day you're like, I can't do this show anymore. I'm burnt out. Why am I do this? And then you do a show where like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to do this again. What was the one?
Wyatt Black.
Oh yeah,
Wyatt Black from Alone.
yeah. Canadians seem to be really winning a lot on that show in the last couple of years. Or any backlash with that? The American are saying, "Hey, why are these Canadians winning? Or are we better or what?"
Well, we in a lot of ways we've been in our own backyard. There's been Americans like Clay Hayes and Jordan Jonas and what have you. We've been the last couple of years okay, but it hasn't always been that way. And we're just on a good run right now. And let's face it, look at the two great wars and how the Canadians, we use Canadians, but we've got every ethnicity from around the world, Swedes, Scandinavians, Dutch, Scotsmen, Irishmen, the list goes on. So we have a lot of resilient people that have come from tough places that, just know how to survive.
That guy, he and I clicked like that. We ended up meeting at a show in Barrie after he did the show with me, and said that, you know what, we got to do this again sometime. There was just a chemistry between him and I that really we just hit it off. He was probably one of the few guests that I've ever had on the show that when we chatted pre-show, during the show, and in the green room, it's like we had known each other for years. And he and I were still in contact with each other, we'll text each other from time to time, and but I like it when you could have a real chemistry with a person, where you hit it off, you see eye to eye. It's almost like you know what he's going to say before he said it. Like I say, it honestly felt like we had a bit of a brotherhood going on there. And we had known each other for quite a long time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I same thing. I did a whiskey chat with him a while back after Alone, and we had a blast, especially the second hour, because I think he was toking a little something.
Well, you did it with him and Alan Tenta and a couple of the other guys from, or one of the other guys from Alone, and that was like a fantastic interview.
I'll tell you. I shouldn't tell you the story, but go back. Anybody who wants to go back, the marketing person of Alone was watching the first bit, and then they wanted to do more, and then she left, and the second bit there was no one watching from Alone, so they said a lot, and they were drinking a lot of whiskey and doing a lot of, and there was things said. I had a less. All right, so what was your longest show? Because I know later in life you sort of said, okay, well we can't do this like 5-hour show. This is ridiculous. But during COVID we did, right? What was the longest show that you ever did?
You mean the real show?
Yeah, not green room. I mean the green room.
Yeah. You know what? I always had that thing where I wanted to try and maintain 2 hours, and we always seem to go into overtime. Maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it was just because the conversation was too good, and we had a bunch of people on screen. But I can't honestly tell you what show was my longest. But I do know that early on in the days, I had this guy, Kevin Callan, on this show. And that show went like for 4 or 5 hours, honestly. And I know that because I went back and like Facebook, we had a notification come up and it said that 6 years ago today, right? And it was the ad for our show. So I'm going to go back and watch that. And I put it on at work, playing in the background. And I put it on at 9:30 in the morning. It's like we're into the afternoon and the show is still going. It's like, wow, that was a long show, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. The poor people, I can't stand my own voice. I can't imagine anybody listening to me that long. The most exhausted you were after an interview.
Oh my goodness. Mentally or just exhausted? Because I was mentally.
No, I would say mentally, not physically. Yeah.
After there again, it comes back to Les Stroud. He had me very stressed the second time he was on the show, and I won't get into any details about the show. It was a good show. It went off without a hitch during the show, but by the end of it, there, I'll tell you, my brain was on overload, and I was just I was quite done. Les is a great interview. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's got a lot of great stories, and that show was about. More about his recording contracts, like his music, his art, his virtual reality game. We got on topics other than Survivor Man type of thing, but things that led up to the show and after the show was very, very stressful. I was thankful to have him on the show, not once but twice. But yeah, I was pretty drained after that one.
I remember those days because there was a lot of weight on your shoulder, and I think you put that on yourself. What was the time when you had no weight on your shoulder at all? You just said, "Let it happen." I do this every Tuesday. I don't care what happens; it will all happen. What was that one?
Out of over 160 episodes, it's hard to pinpoint one specifically, but the ones that seem to go off without a hitch always were shows on like topics. Whenever we would talk about, food or bear shows or winter camping or, how to prep, for winter ice out trips, or those ones there were sort of a breath of fresh air because I could plan a little less and learn a little more. So yeah, those ones there were the ones that kind of went off without a hitch, except for when my internet would cut out or something. Yeah. Go ahead and ask me about the freakiest show I ever had.
Okay, what was your freakiest show you ever had?
You might have to ask Camper Christina that one. That's the one I had Camper Christina on. And no, you're not get your mind out of the gutter.
No, my mind's not in the gutter. But I remember she took over your show.
She had to. The power went out. I lost all power, all internet. And I kind of freaked out because right there I knew Christina was on by herself, right? And she did a fantastic job of keeping everybody going and stuff like that. And then I actually grabbed my cell phone and I ran out on my front porch and I got back on the show and I was like talking like this into the cell phone and finished the show that way. But thank goodness she was there to save me.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That was awesome, actually. Well, it wasn't awesome at the time. It was like, oh my God. Yeah. All right. What I really like was the Christmas specials.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. That's mostly done. Can you grab my beer from the freezer?
Yeah. Can you hear Joe now?
I did. You know what? I had to touch the screen. I hear Joe great now. And Joe, I watched when you got Wolf, and I watched when you put him into the canoe the first time. And honestly, I knew he was going to be a great dog. Just that video, the way he relaxed with you.
Yeah.
It's really awesome to watch you have fun with a dog, my friend.
I know everybody watched them, but it was Christmas because we all gathered together. It started with Sty, to be quite honest. I remember years ago when Sty had a Christmas special and we would all get together. I think even for your major show, and we would just spend time at Christmas who was alone, right? So yeah.
It was a bit of a chance for me to have sort of a reunion show, people that I had on the show in the past, right? I'd always put the invitation out to all my past guests and say, hey, man, I got room for, like I said, I think 8 people or 10 people on screen. But I kept bringing people in and out and stuff like that. And it was really a neat thing just to get caught up and say, gee, so how you been doing since you had that big trip and when you were last on the show? And, a lot of holiday cheer spread around that time and a lot of laughs.
I enjoy that. Actually, my daughter remembers that. And she remembers the whole Sty thing too when we all gathered. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to him. There you
go. Cheers to Sty. I just spilled part of my whiskey.
Oh, this meeting of my life, I'm telling you. What did your wife and family think about you doing all this? Did they he's going a little nutsy?
My wife always knew where I was on a Tuesday night. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, my wife and I have been married for 35 years this year, and she's always been supportive of what I do. She knows my passion. I've always taken on many hobbies, but this is my outdoorsy stuff. It's my hobby. It's me, right? It's part of me. And she knows exactly what I do. She knows I'm a YouTube junkie. And she also knows that I have a passion for this type of thing, and great support. So yeah, never have I ever had a problem with my wife saying, "Oh my gosh, you're going down on the computer again for 2 hours to talk to who? Is that Kevin guy going to be there too?"
Are you going to have a birthday debate or what's going on? Yeah, that was a weird show.
That's you're kind of getting up there in years now, Kevin. I mean, Kevin's so old that his balls are starting to look like a tent that nobody knows how to fold up. Kevin's so old, his prostate is almost the size of his ego. Hey, Kevin, which sexual positions produce the ugliest kids? Oh, I thought your mom was going to be here so we could ask her. Kevin's a canoe author, so he's really living the life of a starving artist. Kevin's so poor that instead of buying a bidet, he does handstands in the shower.
Do you think this online thing you started 6+ years ago is gone? Like it was a thing that we had. We enjoyed it because of COVID. It kind of diminished a bit. And it's just gone with the dinosaurs?
I would say no. There's still a need for it. There's still a calling for it. I think that people still want to have something to do on a Tuesday evening, especially during the winter time or the shoulder seasons. I've had many people reach out to me, whether I'm going to be starting a show or when's the show going to start again. And I keep telling them that have hope, have hope, because I'm a stubborn guy and I don't survive, just thrive. And I just, I don't want to say no, but I have a hard time saying yes right now. You know how I felt after season 4, because you and I had discussed it and you asked me, am I going to be doing another season, because you sense that it might not happen. And I was undecided at the time, but I did pull off another season, and I don't mean that negatively, you know what I'm trying to say. But I did want people to basically just know it can happen. And let's hope it does happen, because I kind of do have plans. I got a lot of people I'd like to talk to on here. So, yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. Do you think YouTube itself is changing, though? Like, there's a lot of YouTubers dropping off the planet. I'm not saying it's a negative thing. Well, 2 questions what that is. Would you agree that there's a lot of YouTube people dropping off the planet? And yes or no? And also, why?
I think, there's a lot of people that I used to watch that have been slowly disappearing off of YouTube. One, it's not an easy gig. You and I know somebody in particular that we talked to said they were giving up their full-time job to become a YouTuber, and it didn't last very long. And we both looked at each other. You know what I'm talking about. And we both looked at each other and said, "Oh, yeah, I'd keep the job." And you know what? I think. They say only 0.1%, 0.1% of, not 1%, 0.1 of YouTubers will ever reach 10,000 subscribers, let alone become a success where they're making all kinds of money and be able to live up. You have to be able to do it steady, full-time, nonstop, 24/7. That's how, the Jim Bairds are doing it. That's how the Xander Budnicks are doing it. But I also find a lot of YouTubers now are doing less frequent videos, but putting out polished videos. Xander Budnick, his brother Maxim, Canoe the North. They're putting out video. John from Lost Lakes. Now I'm just naming off some that I watch, but these people they're putting out polished productions, which are bringing in thousands and thousands of views because they already have the viewership. So
yeah, but Dennis, that's fine because I still watch those shows too. And I think that's the algorithm is the shtick that they're doing. Is that organic? I mean, your show was organic. Like you didn't get the views, but everybody loved your show. So forget about, I'm not negative about Xander's and all gyms and everything else because I watch their shows and I know them, whatever. But yeah, let's just say screw them and let's focus on you. You spent the time and energy to be there every Tuesday, or is it Thursday? Is it Tuesday or Thursday?
It was every Tuesday. It started out as every Thursday, but then we shifted to Tuesdays. Yeah,
it's all a blur. It's all a blur. Yeah. And then you had a carrot in front of you, and hopefully that carrot's still in front of you, or not. I mean, to be quite honest, if the carrot's not in front of you, move on and change. I think change is good. You should change your underwear. Where's my underwear? You should change your underwear.
I did. I'm wearing Man-Made brand. This is not a paid subscription. No.
but as long as your show wasn't like the new shtick, it wasn't the new thing to grab the audience. Well, we all have to do that. But I'm going off tangent here, whatever. But because I'm thinking a lot about what's going on YouTube. It's like there's a lot of people who started and they thought they would make a lot of money, but they didn't think they would change the world. And if you want to change the world, you're not going to make a lot of money. Well, maybe, hopefully you will. But I think you did a lot of good, man. So cheers and whiskey with that.
Thank you. You know what, Kevin? It all couldn't have been possible without you, man. Your input on that show too. Anytime I would say, "Hey, Kevin, are you available on Tuesday night?" It's like, do I really have to ask? But I'm going to ask anyways, right? And you made so many of the shows that we had so much easier when I brought you on, and you kind of took over the second half of the show a lot of the times, and it's like good because sometimes some of the interviews you get into the second half and you're having a bit of a hard time carrying the conversation, and Kevin would just come in and before you knew it, man, we're going for another hour and a half. And that was awesome, man. I appreciate your friendship and your input for the show, and the fact that you enjoyed and believed in it enough to come on as well.
I did. You actually it was a saving grace, to be quite honest. And I know we only got a couple seconds here, whatever, but saving grace for me to be on your show was I did multiple things, but one was I spent all day in the bush with students at risk, and I loved every minute of it. But I needed some time alone and be with my people, as they say, people, right?
Yeah.
And the other is I did tons of CBC interviews. And that was my job. I did syndicate interviews, which I loved, but I had 27 interviews the entire day with the same question asked to me every single time. And then it was on your show. Whoa!
Yeah. Time to cut loose, eh?
Oh yeah.
You know what? To just go back really quickly to the people that watch the show. I may not have had the hugest subscribership. I think I'm only like 7,200 subscribers or something. But it's not about how many subscribers you have. It's about how many followers you have, those that actually take in the show, watch it live or after the fact. And it never really bothered me that, if I had only 75 people or 100 people in the chat, and it felt great to have like 400 or 500 at a time in the live, but those that watched made it worthwhile every single week. So,
yeah, I'll cheer on that. I'll cheer on that before we finish up here. Your show was, and your show, because you haven't said yes or no yet, but your show was always organic and real, and that's why we watched it. Whether you had millions of subscribers or not, but everybody watched it, enjoyed it. Cheers on you, man.
Thank you. Hey, the sign is still up.
It's because you painted it on the wall.
No, just cardboard, man. Just cardboard.
Oh my God. Cheers.
Thanks,
man.
Kevin, man. This is the first. I'm finally on the Kevin Callan's Whiskey Fireside chant.
Oh, it's about time. It's about time. No, I'm just drinking more tea than whiskey. It's gone downhill. Bye. Hi, I'm Kevin Callan, the Happy Camper. Remember, keep the adventures alive.
Awesome. A regular on the show, You all know him as the Happy Camper. I call him Mr. Callan. Please welcome to the live stream, Kevin Callan. Kevin.
More cowbell!
More cow. I thought you were going to come out with the harmonica tonight. What the heck? He's prepared.